Hey, this is David with MBS Fitness, and our goal is to help you improve both your lifespan and your health span. In the previous video, we discussed health. What is it? How do we measure it? And today we're going to discuss the 8 variables that ultimately impact your health. And here I have them in decreasing order of how much agency or control we have over each one of them. So at the very top, we have genes. You can't really control your genes. They are what they are. You can, however, impact the genes that you're going to pass on by having by taking healthy action steps. You can actually change the genes of future generations, but you can't do much about your own genes. Next, we have disease. No matter how hard you work out, how consistent you are, how much sleep and nutrition, you're never going to be impervious to disease. There's always a chance that you'll pick up some virus or have something happen to you. So we can move the needle as best we can to be as resistant as possible, but we don't have full control over whether or not we pick up a disease. Next, we have accidents. We have a little bit more agency. We can put ourselves or remove ourselves out of situations that could potentially lead to accidents. For example, we could wear a seatbelt while we drive, but we can't control other drivers, and there's always a potential chance that we find ourselves in some type of accident. Next, we have hormones. And now we really are into an area where we can take some actions to improve this. We can't really right now think or do anything that's going to immediately have some type of long-term hormonal impact in a single action, but we can move the needle on our hormones pretty significantly by addressing some of these other areas that we do have control over. And ultimately, we can take exogenous hormones if needed. Next, or finally, we're getting into what we call the SIM, stands for Sleep, Eat, Move, Manage. And these are the 4 primary activities that we have agency over, we have control over. We can choose when we're going to go to sleep. We can improve our sleep environment. We can choose what foods to put in our mouths and what foods not to. We can choose what workouts we do and how often we're going to work out. And we can choose our mindset around these types of things. And so when we're thinking about health, these are the primary areas in which we look to address action sets for our clients. So every 90 days, we do what's called a goal review or a SIM session. And in that, we're trying to analyze, hey, how is your sleep? How's your nutrition? How's your exercise? And how's your mindset, your management? Recognizing that life changes and we may need to push or pull in one of those areas to move us closer to our goals. And that's where I want to bring up the dimmer switch versus the light switch. And what I find for a lot of people is there comes a moment where their motivation is very high. That can be caused by a lot of things. It can be caused because they step on the scale and don't like what they see. They take off their clothes and don't like what they see. But something creates some type of momentum that says, I've got to take an action now. And oftentimes what they'll do is they'll take way too big of an action. They'll try to move the needle on everything at once. And unfortunately, what happens in life is at some point, you're going to have some type of resistance there. There's going to be a schedule change, a budgetary change. You're going to get sick, or you're going to have some type of physical pain. Something's going to throw you off of that giant plan that you had created. And because these only 2 modes that we know are on or off, as soon as life gives us a challenge, we just turn the light switch off. Hey, I'm motivated. Oh, I'm going to work out 5 days a week. I'm going to eat perfect. Something happens, I'm going to stop working out and go back to eating fast food. We just operate our health and fitness like a dimmer switch, turning it on, turning it off, turn it on, turn it off throughout our entire lives. And the reality is, when we do that, we don't make any forward progress. We can look back and say, well, over the last 10 years, there's been multiple times where I've exercised really hard and I've eaten really well, but now I'm no more fit than I was 10 years ago. And so that's why I suggest taking a dimmer switch approach. The dimmer switch says, hey, for the rest of my life, I gotta keep this light on. For the rest of my life, I've gotta care about my health and maintain it. So this has gotta stay on at all times. Now, What that looks like is going to vary. There are going to be times in my life where I can really crank up that brightness. There's going to be times in my life where I need to turn it back a little bit. And that's why we meet every 90 days to go over the sim, is to see, hey, where are you currently in your 90 days? And let's create a good plan that helps us maintain and ideally progress on our health and fitness despite whatever is going on. Maybe these two things are in place and they're solid, but we really need to spend some time and energy trying to improve our nutrition. Whatever it may be, we always want to focus on having a dimmer switch approach instead of a light switch approach, because health span and lifespan are a lifelong pursuit, not just a 6-week pursuit.